Yeah, here it comes, the great DC3TB multiband phased array. Nothing completely new, but an antenna combining the wisdom of all calculations. The DX monster antenna. I have already said in my previous video that the calculations in the antenna program Angal with an antenna height of 0 meters are sometimes a little bit strange. If you render a real phased array with two quarter-wave ground planes with elevated radials and a phased line with a length of minus 71 degrees, like the recommendation of Mr. Christman, in a height of 3 meters, you get an antenna you do not want to build or use. An antenna with a gain of 4.67 dBi, somewhere into the clouds. And maybe you can change it to a gain of 0 in 5 degrees, like Callum has done that in his video. But to be honest, who wants to use such an antenna for DX? It is not a good DX antenna. And here comes the solution. First, we do not want to use ground plane antennas. With an inefficient radial network where you need 20 or 30 radials over the whole ground, that must not be. Then we want a multiband antenna. That is the reason why I would use a 1:49 autotransformer for each antenna, or for each antenna element. You have got loss of just 5% if you wind the Un- autotransformer in the right way. You can play with ladder line. Nevertheless, I do not like ladder line because I want to have it simple, and the loss of 5 to 8% is not a big issue. But we should keep in mind that the phasing line must be adjusted. So we need a big box where you can switch between different phasing lines depending on the band. If you would use a phasing line which was calculated for the 40-meter band with a 20-meter band, we lose 2 dBi gain. And 2 dBi in 5 degrees is no more so less. Then we do not need a distance of 10 meters between the radiating poles of the antenna. Why must it be exactly a distance of 1/4 lambda? From my calculations, a distance of 0.124 lambda is playing great. So you use an 8 lambda on the biggest band, for example the 40-meter band. That are approximately 2.63 meters and it should work great. And then we want to use a third element to get more gain in a low radiation angle. So we add a director or reflector to get some more gain. But we must have to add the director or reflector on the correct side. And if we want to switch the direction, it should be in the same length. And last but not least, we build the antenna out of half-wave slopers and not ground planes, like Whiskey 4 Romeo November Lima already has mentioned in his article, the slippery sloper argument. It is important to use the correct angle between the wire elements if the ground is just an average ground. So I use an angle of 22.5 degrees. Do not go below this angle, because the radiation pattern changes dramatically. You can get up to an angle of approximately 30 degrees. Then you do not lose not so much gain, but keep that in mind. And here you can see the final result of the radiation pattern of such an antenna. A gain of 5.2 dBi in 5 degrees. In 5 degrees! A gain of 9.4 dBi around 15 degrees or so. Not a gain in the cloud and a forward-backward ratio of over 20 dBi. And now look on the values of the 4-element beam as a comparison. And keep in mind that a 4-element Yagi beam in a height of 10 meters for the 40-meter band is a real monster. And we have only a gain of 2.6 dBi in 5 degrees. Okay, you can change the gain if you have a tower of 20 or 30 meters, but such a thing you can't install in a small garden. But stop, we know if the angle of the two wires is too narrow, then the calculation is too far away from the reality. So let's double check the results in another program, for example for neg2. And we see we have to find out the correct length of the cable which is doing the phasing shift experimentally. And in addition, the angle of the two wires must be somewhere between 22 degrees and maybe 30 degrees. But nevertheless, the antenna could be a real booming gun. So keep that in mind. Try to build the antenna if you want. I think it is really simple, and I will show you the results in my next video. So do not forget to subscribe my channel, have fun with our hobby, and 73, bye bye.